as the Hidden Menace. In November 2012, a rogue gang of outlaw knitters yarn-bombed more than 130 trees in downtown Iowa City. Known as the Tree Hugger Project, this public art display drew the ire of some sanctimonious busybody members of the community who believed that this project was a waste of time and yarn that took place at the expense of more deserving charitable organizations. One of the ringleaders of this dastardly band of ne'er-do-wells was Anna Salino Hug.
We are inside of Homac now with one of the ringleaders of this organization that has caused so much consternation in Iowa City. Her name is Anna Salino Hug. Anna, thank you for sitting down with us. I have to ask, what were the charities that the knitters in Iowa City decided to ignore this year to participate instead in the tree hugging project?
None.
Well,
Yeah.
I read at least a half dozen letters to the editor in all three daily newspapers that it was a waste of time and there was people better served because knitting is a zero-sum game, and by participating in this project, it was expressly at the expense of far more worthy people. What do you have to say to that?
I think that a lot of those statements were made out of a misunderstanding about knitting as well as the project. Most knitters can easily crank out several projects per month, and if the knitters that routinely knit for charities, the tree hugger in no way affected what they're going to put out for the charities that they knit for.
So you're telling the folks at home that people can knit both for a public art project and for charitable organizations?
Most definitely.
So what do you think's then informing these folks writing letters to the editor that are not merely content to curse the darkness, but seems to me they're going around and blowing out candles?
I think it's a misunderstanding about what knitting is, and also stereotypes about who knitters are. I think there's a lack of appreciation for knitting as an art form. I've stated this in letters, but I wonder how many painters were told who contributed painting the benches and murals downtown. I wonder how many painters were told that their contribution was frivolous as well, because individuals need help painting their houses. I just don't think that knitting is seen as an art, which is unfortunate because it is.
This project then, let it just be clear, was not at the expense of any charities.
No, it was not at the expense of any charities.
All right, then all those folks at home who wrote those letters, find a hobby. I suggest knitting. But let's talk, though, about this project. It's called Tree Hugger Project. 132 trees in downtown Iowa City. How many people were involved in it? Was it one person, one tree? How did this project get started? And what's the response been that wasn't the panties in a bunch crowd?
Sure. So there were easily over 200 knitters knitting for trees. We also had volunteers and organizers to help get everyone the yarn that they needed, the trees that they needed, and help get all of the knit covers hung. And it's been an overwhelmingly positive response. I really think that it does add a lot to downtown. It's a really great installation, and it's fun being a knitter we don't usually get recognized, and seeing knitting on such a large scale downtown is really, really awesome.
Well, I've enjoyed all the ones that I've seen. How many? There's 132 trees. What's the plan for how long you expect these to stay up?
My knowledge is that they're going to stay up until about February, and then depending on how well they fare, they may be held onto for an installation next year. I'm not really certain.
Has there been any, and this is just a function of Iowa City, but has there been any vandalism, any sweaters gone missing?
You know, I have not noticed any going missing. Just from what I've seen, I haven't really seen any vandalism to them.
I was almost thinking about it the other night. I was downtown. It was really cold, but I couldn't.
Vandalizing?
Well, I was cold, but I couldn't find a tree that looked like it would fit. So that's, you chose the right trees. But this project, I understand, has its roots, and other cities have done a similar thing. How did you guys find out about it, and what led you to decide to do that here in Iowa City?
Sure. Yarn bombing takes place worldwide. It's really kind of a fun movement. I think that it was the Downtown District Association who came up with the idea, came to Homac, and then we got involved. So it was sponsored by the Downtown District, Total Tree Care, and I believe maybe a couple of private sponsors as well.
Do you plan on doing this again sometime in the future, or are there other things that can be knitted for besides trees?
Oh, there are definitely other things that can be knit for. If you ever look up yarn bombing on like a Google search, they have some really fun. Benches are covered, bikes are covered. It started as like a real renegade movement.
Well, I had an ex-girlfriend whose mom was a prolific knitter and also gave dozens of sweaters and hats and things to charities. But she knit so much, I joked, like at a certain point there was nothing left in her house that didn't have a cozy for it. And I said, well, she could knit like a cozy for her mother, who also lived like a grandma, just put one over. But folks want to find out more about this project here in Iowa City, other folks, I'm certain that there's some info online. Where should they go to check that out?
I would look at Home Ec's website, homeecworkshop.com, or our Facebook page.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us, Anna. And the folks at home want to get involved, go to Where She Told You online, and everybody else. Knitters are not the menace that you may have been led to believe.